Hello everyone, welcome to this evening's event. Hope everyone's keeping well, staying safe during these ever challenging times. My name is Matt Cliff. I'm the Northwest Engagement Manager for Thomas Poppins and Trust. The focus of my role is around supporting the setup of sight loss councils in the region. So for those of you that don't know, sight loss councils are groups of visually impaired volunteers that advocate for the needs of blind and partially sighted people. Fundamentally, we aim to help blind and partially sighted people live their lives to the fullest. So today's event is a Greater Manchester Sight Loss Council event. So with any luck, this will be the last you hear of me, barring any technical. So I'm going to hand over now to our first guest, who is going to read a poem for us. We're joined by the blind poet, Dave Steele. I've heard Dave perform on many occasions now, and I've always found his work very thought-provoking. And the feedback I get from other blind and partially sighted people is how much they identify with the words. So please do listen, please do enjoy. I hope you enjoy this event as much as I'm going to. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Dave. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. I'd like to thank the Sight Loss Councils, and I want to share this poem that I wrote today, especially for this event. I used to make excuses, avoid that crowded place, felt distant from the outside world and things too hard to face. The blur would make me panic. Depression told me don't. My dreams weren't possibilities, held back by things I won't. But now I'm feeling positive. No challenge I won't try. And if I fail, these eyes aren't all I need to get me by. For vision's more than seeing. It's all our minds create. I've realized that I decide. It's me who choose my fate. So though I'm not done losing sight and battles yet to come, instead of staying home alone, I'll face my fears till won. Won't compromise through exercise, play sports and dance and sing. The vision in my mind means I'll accomplish anything. No, blindness didn't break me. Take the man you see today. I swipe my cane with confidence to find another way. There's more to life than seeing. There's more to sight than me. The vision in my mind creates the possibilities.
That was brilliant. Thank you, Dave Steele, there for reciting this poem today for us. Welcome everybody to our Greater Manchester VI Forum for 2021. Let's get creatively active through sports and the arts. Now, before we start, I've got a bit of housekeeping that I just need to share with everybody. If you hang on a moment. This session will be recorded, so it will be available on the Sight Loss Council website, and it will also be on our Facebook Live. So I'm Anthony Goff, and I'm a visually impaired creative and Greater Manchester Sight Loss Council member, along with my co-host Sophie.
Hi guys, I'm Sophie Thornhill. I'm part of the Sight Loss Council, and I'm really excited to be co-hosting with Anthony today.
Today, myself and Sophie will be guiding you through today's event. So what's today's event all about? As we slowly enter into a post-lockdown world and find ourselves reflecting on a time that's been difficult and challenging for us all, we as the Sight Loss Council wanted to take a proactive approach by exploring the opportunities available to blind and partially sighted people across Greater Manchester in the fields of sport and performing arts. We want to examine the positive benefits of participating in sports and the creative arts, from socialising to confidence building to improve physical and mental well-being. And we want to do this in a way that's open, interactive and engaging. So what form will today's event take? The event will begin with our panel of guest speakers made up from representatives across VI sports and arts across Greater Manchester. This will be a chance to ask about their work, learn about their experience, and the participatory opportunities available across Greater Manchester. We will then open the forum up to you guys for a Q&A session, so have your questions at the ready. Finally, today's event will close with a low intensity breathing and chair yoga session from our guest instructor, Claire Miller.
Thanks, Anthony. Before we get our panel guests, I wonder, can we please ask everyone to take part in a quick poll? Throughout 2021 and 2022, we'll be using regular polls to capture the views of blind and partially-sighted people, and this is the first one. So listen carefully. Taking part in sports, physical activity, leisure and creative arts is a great way to improve your health and well-being. If you are blind or partially sighted, what is most likely to stop you getting involved? Is it confidence to take part? Is it finding out about the events? Is it transport to and from the events? Or is it the actual costs of activities?
Thank you, Sophie, and thank you everyone for taking part in today's poll. The results of these polls will be vital to the way in which the Greater Manchester Sight Loss Council can respond to the voices of blind and partially sighted people across Greater Manchester, the North West and beyond. So without further ado, let's now go on to our first speakers.
Dave Steele is an award-winning poet, author, public speaker, singer and advocate for the blind. He was diagnosed with RP in 2014 and quickly found himself an unemployed father of 4. With the financial burden of this loss of his independence, Dave turned to social media for the support with his RP journey. In 2015, he created his Stand By Me RP Facebook page, which has now become one of the largest social media RP groups in the world. Over to you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you for that amazing introduction. And once again, thank you for having me here today. So yeah, I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a condensed version of, my story, basically, of my journey with low vision and blindness, which, funnily enough, it was the anniversary of yesterday. Yesterday was 7 years ago to the day that I went for a routine eye exam to my local opticians and was officially diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. I already knew that it was in the family, but from a young age, I was always told that it probably wouldn't affect me until I was much older. And I just kind of got on with my life and worked as a singer, touring all over the place. Started off as a blue coat entertainer at Pontins, for those of you that know the Holiday Parks. Did some musicals in the West End and toured on cruise ships and pretty much just got around the world enjoying my life. And in 2014, I said 7 years ago yesterday, I walked into a routine eye exam. I used to get myself checked every couple of years just to make sure I was still okay for driving. And they looked into the back of my eyes and they saw that the pigment was a lot thicker than the last time they saw me. And immediately they said to me those words that a lot of you will be familiar with, that I had to stop driving immediately and they were going to refer me to a retinal specialist. About a couple of weeks later, I was diagnosed as being severely sight impaired. I then started to lose my sight quite dramatically. I lost all my peripheral within about 8 months and went through a lot of the things that people tend to go through with a new diagnosis: a loss of independence, a loss of confidence. I struggled with anxiety and depression, not just due to the sight that I was losing, but because of the financial pressure it was putting on my family. We fell through the net and were unable to get the support that we needed with the waiting list of things like personal independence payment and things like that, and really struggled for a while. And it was when my sister, who was the first one to be diagnosed with RP, suggested that I go onto social media and start speaking to people who were going through the same thing. That was when things started to really turn around for me. That all changed when after getting invited to a support group meeting, and they asked me to be the entertainment for the support group, a support group in Newcastle for people with RP and Usher syndrome. I had this kind of eureka moment. I was in bed the night before and I was going over ideas of songs to sing, being the entertainment for the support group. And I just had this idea where I thought if I could take a song that everyone knows and change the words, it would have more of an emotional response and more of an impact. So I chose the song Stand By Me by Benny King, because we all know the opening line of that. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, because that was like night blindness to me. And when I decided to choose that song, I rewrote the lyrics to it, called it Stand By Me RP, performed it the following day. And then people were coming up to me at that support group saying that I was able to describe how they'd always felt about their journeys with low vision and blindness. And it was like I'd kind of taken their own thoughts. And at that moment, I felt like I'd got something back. I always say to people that I went through that early stage of losing my confidence, my independence, my pride. But the biggest thing it kind of took from me was my purpose. I didn't know where my place was in the world anymore. And all of a sudden, I found the ability to kind of support people and help myself by documenting my journey through poetry and music, because to me, music and poetry is the same thing, was when things really started to change for me. I started writing poetry every day, documenting the good days, the bad days. I wanted to share everything. And every time I shared a piece of poetry online on one of these support groups, people would say to me that I was able to describe how they were feeling about their journeys. And they were also using my words as a way for them to communicate to their friends and family and their loved ones how they were feeling. And that just encouraged me to write more. And, you know, I was writing every day, 2 or 3 a day. And I released my first book, Stand By Me, RP, after that song. And that came out in February 2016. And in its first week, it became the #1 European poetry release on Amazon in both America and Australia. Volume 2 came out the following year, 2017, and Volume 3 in 2018, which were both #1s in Amazon, on Amazon in America and Australia on the very first days. I've now become to be known as the Blind Poet. I try and support people through my poetry all over the world now. I often speak at events before the pandemic hit, both obviously here in the UK and in America as well. And now I do obviously a lot of these kind of Zoom events online and try and support people that way. So yeah, I think, you know, before the pandemic hit, everything kind of changed. I literally had my bags packed the week before when we went into lockdown, and I was due to go out to America to be the first British host of the annual Helen Keller Awards out in DC, and had all these things planned. And then the pandemic hit and we kind of changed things, or the way we do things. But it's great that we can all still connect in this kind of way. Before we kind of have our next speaker, I would like to share one other piece of poetry with you, if I may. This I wrote on my weekly Zoom call every Wednesday evening at 9 o'clock tonight. Shameless plug here. I do this thing called Tea and Poetry, which has become one of the largest Zoom calls in the blind community across America now. We have people tuning in from all over the world, and we have an hour of poetry and special guests. And I wrote this one at the end of last year, and people said that it really described about how it really feels to live with blindness and low vision, talking about a lot of the misconceptions that a lot of us face, that you don't look blind kind of thing that we all go through, and a lot of things. So I hope you guys can relate to this. Before I move on, or we move on to the next speaker, I want to share this last poem with you. This is called Blind Perceptions. I know there's strength inside of you, though all you feel is numb. Don't be afraid as eyesight fades for what is still to come. You will adjust. In these words, trust. We share these tunneled eyes. A mix of strength and anxiousness. The same in me applies. My shins are full of bruises and my confidence misplaced. At times, self-isolated, felt the world too much to face. So I'm here to remind you, all the times we fail don't matter. There's lots of misconceptions still. Let's remind them of the latter. It's not that complicated. Change how blindness is defined. Let's educate, articulate the many ways we're blind. It's never all or nothing, many shades and different views. Yet there's this stereotype they keep on printing in the news. No wonder some of us have fears when out in crowded place. They see the cane but can't explain why we look them in the face. There's some of us who stay at home, convinced of the excuse that because we don't look blind enough, there's a need to be recluse. Don't waste your life on people whose opinions are way off. Just swipe your cane with courage, hold your head with pride aloft. So never doubt what we're about, despite what some believe. Come join me on my mission, change the way we are perceived. I won't let the haze that fills my eyes consume the rest of me. There's more to life than edge of knife, despite what I can't see. Try not to care as people stare with looks of vague suspicion. But why should I explain to them the terms of my condition? Though it's much simpler to stay home, won't waste another day. Their pity's just an obstacle that's getting in my way. Though I am blind, won't be confined by others' misconceptions. This poetry that spills from me will change their blind perceptions. Though anxious chest and days depressed have far from disappeared, I've learned to breathe while I still breathe, control these things I've feared. My kids look on, not on what's gone, but all each day I teach. For if tomorrow their eyes pay, life's dreams are still in reach. So I'll not cry as vision dies, won't focus on the blur. No point in holding on to how those days and eyes once were. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.
Oh, thank you, Dave, for that poem. That was brilliant, and I'm sure those words will be an inspiration to many of the people watching. Our next speaker is Laura Fachie MBE, 3 times world and reigning Paralympic champion blind tandem cyclist and food blogger. Laura is also a member of our very own Greater Manchester Sight Loss Council. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Laura Fachie.
Hi everyone, thanks for that, Anthony, and thanks for that, Dave, as well. That was an incredible poem. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I've been blind pretty much from birth. I've got a hereditary sight loss condition, so it affects myself, my 2 brothers, and my mum. And I've been quite fortunate in a way to grow up in a sort of family that all around me people can't see. So we've got an incredible support network amongst ourselves, and we've always kind of helped each other and encouraged each other, and made sure that our sight loss has never held us back. And I think both myself and my 2 brothers have our parents to thank for that. So we all grew up in mainstream education, and my parents were always very much kind of exploring opportunities for us to get stuck in and try new things, and especially sport. We're all a very incredibly sporty family. So although I am now a cyclist, I didn't actually discover tandem racing until I was 21. Before then, I tried athletics, I tried goalball, I tried a bit of swimming. I even tried a bit of football and cricket to sort of join in with my 2 brothers. And yeah, my main sport was running for the majority of my childhood. And I went to quite a few races abroad with that. And then I fell out of love with athletics when I was about 17, went off to university, studied to be a physiotherapist. And while I was at university, I was struggling in my second year there. I had quite a sort of a not very nice experience on one of my placements. And I got talking to a friend who said, why don't you go back to doing sport? And I said, I want to, I love competing, but I don't want to go back to athletics. And she told me about a friend of hers who had recently lost his funding. He'd been to the Beijing Paralympics as a runner, and he'd lost his funding because he wasn't successful enough at the games. He hadn't made either final of his events. So he'd moved over to try tandem racing, and he was suddenly incredibly successful at it. And I was like, I saw tandem racing at Beijing on the TV, and it looked incredible. I just didn't know how to get involved. And then suddenly there's this opportunity of like, well, maybe she could put me in touch and I could find out how to try getting on the back of a tandem. So I jumped at it, and within 6 weeks I was kind of doing my first tandem race, which was quite scary really when I look back now, because I didn't have a clue about what I was doing as a cyclist. I just did what I was told, basically, and off a couple of races and training rides I did with this girl that British Cycling had found to ride with me, I was selected for my first World Championships, which was back in 2009 now, which makes me feel incredibly old. In fact, I've been doing this now full time, so I'm a full-time cyclist. I'm fortunate enough to be funded by UK Sport, so national lottery funding. So my job is basically to train 6 days a week on a bike. And yeah, I've been doing it for 12 years. Within that time, I've been to 2 Paralympics. I was in London and then Rio, where in Rio I became Paralympic champion. And I'm in current full-time training, getting ready for Tokyo. Obviously, it's been postponed by a year, and when that postponement was announced, we were all pretty devastated. But fortunately, we kind of managed to pick ourselves up again, and we go again, and hopefully this time it will happen. We're all very positive about that it is going to happen, so it's really exciting. So yeah, a bit about tandem riding itself. I'm obviously the one that goes on the back, because if I was the one involved in steering, it'd be pretty dangerous. And I personally race on both track racing and road racing. So the track is the velodrome. It's a 250 meter kind of indoor track made of wood, and you race around it at incredible speeds. And then road racing, we do what's called time trial, which is against the clock. So you're all set off a minute apart, and it's the fastest bike wins. It's my favorite event. And then the road races, the out and out kind of, you all start at the same time, and it's you ride around together, and whoever crosses the line first is the winner. So that's the one where you get that opportunity. If you are the winner, you know straight away, and you can get your hands up and celebrate. So it's also quite a fun one to be a part of. But yeah, my Paralympic title is from the track, but I'm really hoping to defend that title in Tokyo, and also add one from the road, because like I say, road is what I love. I love the fact that tandems, the feeling of speed and being outside that it gives me when I'm riding. And yes, I do this, I say this is my day job. I do it for a living, but you don't need to be doing it full time to enjoy that feeling of being out and about and just riding along, especially when the sun's out. You can't beat it, just riding with, and that's the beauty of being on a tandem. You're never on your own, you're always with someone. So it's such a nice sort of companionable thing to be riding along together and share so many experiences. And like I say, you don't have to go fast or train every day to enjoy it. If you do get an opportunity, it is the best feeling ever.
Thanks, Laura. That's brilliant. That's great to get an insight into your career there. So next up, we have Ada Eravama. Ada is a performing arts graduate and an intermediate level goalball player. Ada plays for the Mersey Sharks goalball team, a team that she has helped to set up during her time studying at Liverpool, and is an even part of the talent pathway for the GB women's goalball team. Like Laura, Ada is also a member of our Greater Manchester Sight Loss Council. So over to you, Ada. I can't wait to hear about your story.
Thank you very much. And Dave and Laura, very inspiring stuff. So yeah, I'm a graduate as of last year. I suppose my performing arts journey started in high school. I really struggled in high school. I was never an academic student, and I was quite shy. Yeah, I struggled in maths, science, history. In fact, I still struggle in maths. But when it came to performing arts or drawing or molding, creating, dancing, singing, those were places I really thrived, and I enjoyed doing that, and I loved it, and it brought my confidence up. So I decided, as well as my other GCSEs, I would take drama as a GCSE as well. And then I went on to take it as a BTEC and A levels in college. So I went for a college for the blind, New College Worcester in Worcester. And there I've kind of realized how adaptable performing arts and art can really be. Because there everyone is visually impaired and in the same boat. So art and creativity have really been molded to be adaptable, and I didn't know about that. So that was brilliant to experience that, and I realized that's the job I want to be in. I want to be in a creative industry. I want to work in a place that I genuinely enjoy working, not just going to work just for the sake of earning money. I want to love what I'm doing. So I decided to take it on for university, and I went to Liverpool, and whilst I was in Liverpool is where I met my goalball team now, Mersey Sharks. I actually found out about goalball when I was in college. So we had someone from Goalball UK come to do a taster session. And I'm so glad I went, because until then, I'd never heard about goalball. None of my friends were really that sporty, so I'd never heard of goalball. So I'm so glad I went to that first session, because I could have easily just seen it and gone, I don't know what that is, and never experienced it. But it's done so much for me in a couple of years, and I love it. I love the training, I love the teamwork, I love the traveling, and the experience you get from being with a team. And I love the community as well, because everyone there has got some form of visual impairment, and you're all in the same boat, and you're all helping each other, whether it's like searching a sports building to try and find where you fill up your water bottles, or like crossing over the road to get Greggs before your next competition. It's just an amazing experience. So I think that, paired with performing arts, has really made me a more confident, stronger person. Whilst I was in Liverpool is where I learned about disabled artists who work to create and perform and tour. I didn't know about that whilst doing GCSEs or A levels. So I learned about companies and artists who are made up of disabled people, and artists who tour their work. You've got Dada Fest in Liverpool, and you've got Engaged to Stage here, and you've got Mind the Gap. And in fact, whilst I was at uni, I went to a directing course with Mind the Gap, which is one of the companies that work with disabled and learning disabled people. And whilst I was there, I loved it so much, because I'd never experienced a place that was built around making performing arts accessible for disabled people, even though the performing arts industry in itself is very adaptable. As long as you have the conversation about your access needs and what you don't, what you do need, and everything can be adapted to fit around you, and it's not a problem. And I love that mindset of the creative people. But yeah, from Mind the Gap, I got offered an assisting directing job, which I have to look forward to. And I really hope in the future, my dream would be to work in one of those companies developing more dynamic work, working with disabled and sighted people, merging the two together to create amazing pieces of work. And I look forward to doing that and learning a lot more. And I think sports and the creative art is a wonderful way of building your self-confidence and just becoming a stronger person. Thank you.
Thank you, Ada. I'm sure many people who are tuning in will feel inspiration and be able to relate actually to those words. I know as a visually impaired creative myself, I can definitely relate to that and the adaptability of the creative industries. And with that in mind, that moves us on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is a visually impaired creative who has worked as an actor, director, and freelance facilitator. A recipient of an RNIB Recognition Award for her work in performing arts. She is currently a director of Engage to Stage, a theatre company based in Bury, Greater Manchester, developed for and by VI creatives. It is a pleasure and honour to introduce Elizabeth Roney.
Thanks, Ant. That's so cool. I just want to say it's just tremendous to be talking to you beautiful people about sports and creative industries, and we keep mentioning the word confidence and self-confidence, and I think that's, you know, that's a big thing in my book for people. Ada is the reason why I do what I do. Ada, I applaud you. I really do. I'm a slightly older woman as well, which means there's a little bit of history to my creative past. I wanted to be an actor. That's all I ever wanted to be, was an actor. And I was happily auditioning for drama schools and had a car accident at about 19 years old, and that's when I lost my sight. And it kind of, I thought, put pay to being an actor. And it wasn't until a few years later, and in those years as we all do, I just needed to learn how to live with being visually impaired. That's what I needed to do. And then I literally just woke up one morning and thought, you know what, I really want to be an actor. What can the industry offer me? And that was a very long time ago, girls and boys. That was about 30 years ago, and it didn't offer very much, it has to be said, to a visually impaired wannabe actor. Drama school didn't offer me very much. They didn't really understand. In fact, when I came eventually to drama school, I didn't declare, I know this is going to sound bizarre, but I actually didn't declare that I was visually impaired, because I thought they're never going to get it. And it was only during a physical theatre exercise where we were all running around as animals, which is what you do, of course, as an actor. You've always got to be an animal. I kept bumping into people, and people kept bumping into me, and we were all over the shop. So I thought, I need to have a conversation, and I did have the conversation, and they didn't know what they were dealing with. And I know that some of you are going to relate to that as well. And that's how I approached this industry, an industry that really didn't know what to do with a visually impaired actor. And I many years later, after having a family, I decided that I needed to enter the industry as a professional, and I started to look at how to connect the theatres with visually impaired people and visually impaired people who wanted to act. And I came across a company who are based in London, and I worked as the participation coordinator for them. And in between that, I was auditioning and working as an actor. Not very much, I hasten to add, because, and I'll say it again, industry didn't know what to do with a visually impaired actor. So that's changing, and that's the good news. I guess that's changing now. And we've got the RSC took on their first visually impaired actor in their last season, and which is great for us actors to know that they're up for that. I have taken part in tours and films, and with companies that are more inclusive, and that's growing as well, which is brilliant. And one of the things that really became very close to my heart was knowing what I'd been through as a young visually impaired person wanting to enter the industry. Was how did I communicate my experience, but also really encourage young people and anybody into the industry. That seemed to be the big one for me. And I founded, along with Anthony, actually, Engage to Stage a few years ago. And we've run lots of projects that really have that at the heart of it. So you don't have to be an actor, you don't have to have any professional experience whatsoever. If you have a heart to just be creative and want to play and want to join in and meet other people, and I know that sounds a bit corny, that phrase, isn't it? I just want to meet other people. But if you want to meet like-minded people who are just up for a bit of fun and who want to explore their own creativity and do it in a fully accessible way, and this is the key, without watering down our experience of what it means to perform or be a creative. Nothing is watered down when we do our work. We work with actors from Shakespeare's Globe. We work with people who go all over the world and teach Shakespeare for a living. We work with people who've trained with Philippe Gouillet's school in Paris in clowning and all things grotesque theatre, and we do it at an industry standard, and we do it with professionals, which is hugely exciting, and we're the only one to do that that we're aware of in the country. So that's all very cool. What else do I want to say to encourage you all to just explore things? I want to say that in a post-COVID, in a COVID experience and post-COVID experience, we have found that we can adapt, and we have done so much of our work online. We've made films in a safe way. I've made a film with the Manchester International Festival that was about all things performance and creative, which is very funny. You can get that on YouTube. It's called Playing Through the Looking Glass. We're just about to launch another film about our journey home, which was a storytelling project originally, but we've made a film out of it. And yeah, so get in touch with us. Just get involved. We have people of all different ages, all different levels, but with just a real heart to find their creative soul. So that's me. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. It's really super.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That was brilliant. It was a great insight into what you guys do. So yes, thank you for that. So next, we actually have our final panelist, Sheraz Chohan, the blind coach, is the founder and secretary of Lancashire Lions VI Sports Club. Founded in 2011, the Lions offer a range of sports including VI cricket, goalball, blind basketball, a finalist in the UK Coaching Changing Lives Awards and a recipient of the Unsung Hero Award in 2015 and 2017 Manchester Sports Awards. It is my great pleasure to introduce Sheraz. Over to you, Sheraz.
Thank you very much. My apologies. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll take it you can hear me. First of all, I'd like to say it's an honour being a part of this setup here today of the Greater Manchester Sight Loss Council. Also, a real pleasure to be beside 4 really passionate and inspiring panelists. So yeah, I will kick off my part and everything as well. I've really enjoyed the journeys of the 4 panelists. And just to give some overview and insight on my journey, obviously, I'm here on behalf of the Lancashire Lions Visually Impaired Sports Club. As lovely lady said before, we've got an offer of 3 different various sports that we offer to the Lancashire, Greater Manchester, or broader as well, all the catchment areas of Lancashire and Manchester where we're based. An offer of blind cricket, where we originally started off in 2011, and I guess the passion, the drive, the right kind of people on board, the committee, as I say, teamwork makes the dream work. You know, we've had the right desire and we moved on. We branched out a few years later to goalball successfully, and recruited, give people more opportunity to play various sports. Also, more recently in 2018, 19 towards 19, we branched out to blind baseball. It's not basketball that we play. I've never played that in any blind sport yet, but that's a good idea. May start that one up soon as well in the future. But yeah, blind baseball. So as you can imagine, we've got various sports going on because not everybody would like to play cricket, not everybody would like to play go ball, also baseball. So there's an offer on there. And during the course of the pandemic, obviously, we got a bit creative. And as you can imagine, if you're proactive, you're out on the road during the season. Summer, is our peak, and we're up and down the country participating in different sports, cricket, as I mentioned before, go ball and baseball. Obviously, in this challenging past 12 months, this has been non-existent for a lot of people. It's made a drastic change in everybody's life, and you have to get your thinking hat on and get a bit more creative. So obviously our social media shot through the roof. Could be loud and proud of that. We even recruited more members come through into the Lancashire Lions setup as a social aspect as well. We managed to do quite a few activities, challenges, the Fitbit challenge, steps challenges. The one that really sticks out is we participated in Diabetes UK, the Million Step Challenge, which we actually fundraised up to about £500 with our members collectively and individually as well, doing 1 million steps during the course of September onwards, July to September onwards. And amazingly, some of our members completed 1 million steps on their own as well. So you can imagine how proactive some of these individuals was before the pandemic. And it was paramount of having our members, their well-being prioritized and make sure we exercise them. We did quite a bit on WhatsApp groups, social media groups, where we did exercise lessons and exercising the mind, then exercising the body as well. As I mentioned, exercising the mind. We, in collaboration with a similar organisation and clubs over the past 12 months, we've networked and we've hosted quizzes and build relationships really with the visually impaired community. It's something that I always wanted to do, being passionate about myself as well. And it's kind of how can I say, excelled in the sense of where more memberships come through, we've made more friends, people have appreciated our ethos, we've networked with similar people with similar ethos to us, and it's just progressed in the sense of you imagine a lot of people at the start not even use any social media kind of even the phones, using WhatsApp. So upskilling members like that and getting them to use social media platforms, etc., and actually just taking that step towards independence. I think that was essential. So it was a step away from normality for us, because we're a full-on sports club, training sessions, practicing obviously competitive games. We've had our social element over the past 10 years, but not as much as sports. So it was a step out of normality, as I said before, and the pandemic was a step out of normality for everyone, really. It was unprecedented circumstances, as everybody keeps saying, but we've managed to really get some members upskilled with social media, with their fitness, also just generally. I think the key word of today is confidence, and I think self-esteem and confidence has shot through the roof of some of our members. The beauty of our club is as well, just to sell it a bit more, as they say, is obviously all the sports that we play is basically males and females can play in a similar team. There's none of this. If there's a male, this is a male dominated sport, you can't play. We've got mixed in cricket, in goalball, and our goalball team, some of the females are better than our males, which doesn't surprise me. They're better than most of us at most things anyway. And baseball wise as well. And I've had the honour to obviously represent Great Britain myself. In baseball in 2019, the World Classic, something that we launched from the Lancashire Lions. We are the controlling body of UK blind baseball. And also I'm a delegate myself for the AIBXC, the controlling body and the governing body that's got the ownership of blind baseball. So I'm kind of working myself in Asia, in Africa and New Zealand, and more recently Australia as well, promoting this sport, blind baseball, and we brought it to the UK. And yeah, that's a bit about the sports. My own personal achievements, beside that, the best thing for me over these past 10 years is, being a part of individuals' journeys where they can really, reach the highest platform they want to, and seeing some youngsters from our school programs, um, really, really growing confidence and growing stature as well during the course of, the journey that I've been a part of with them as well, involved in coaching, involved in connection with like Gold Ball UK, Blind Cricket, other various governing bodies, liaising and networking with them, and seeing some of these youngsters really, really progress in life and grow, and with their self-esteem and confidence shooting through the roof. It's made me feel very humble, and it's just, no organization could be run on its own. You've got to have a great, team there, and I think our workforce is very good. We're a multicultural club, with different backgrounds. That's the beauty of it as well. We all learn of each other, different aspects of different people's lives, and we get out and we really enjoy being together. I think that's the important thing. I think Elizabeth mentioned about like-minded people you can relate to. Most definitely, I think it's essential that people communicate and learn things of each other and meet individuals, and that's where other people can share that information with you, like we've done here as a forum here today, and where other doors open. I think creative arts, education, sports is a key to open a lot of doors in life. I'm obviously somebody that's experienced that myself, because I come into sports late myself. It's been about 10 years coming to blind sports, and I think it opens a lot of doors, and it does really improve your day-to-day independence as well. It can give you a confidence boost. It can really make you feel release endorphins from your brain, when you do exercise, when you be involved in sport. I mean, some of our members live for the next training session, so you can imagine with the pandemic what they went through. So we had to really make some sort of setup where they can actually communicate with each other, and we could do some sort of exercises with not being together but being together, in a virtual way, the kind of world that we've been living in the past 12 months. And yeah, it's going back to Lancashire Lions have won many achievements over the years, recognised for Club of the Year, Disabled Club of the Year, Manchester, myself with awards, and other individuals as well, going out to reach Great Britain with Gold Ball, more recently baseball, and Blind Cricket England and Wales, people winning achievements on the field. Lancashire Lions have won achievements, and off the field as well. And the most important thing of it is it's people getting together and having the same kind of goals. And our aims and objectives is to bring people together where they can actually relate to each other, play sports, and actually excel in further life. I mean, I've seen myself with sports, people have gone on and further education, they've really excelled, and vice versa. They come through education and they're coming through to sports, and it's really increased their mental well-being, their confidence, and it's just been amazing to be a part of such a journey and seeing people really progress in life. And my message to going out to everybody as well is, I've met so many people in life that said, I've just lost my sight. I can't do nothing anymore. I was fully sighted. And that's the biggest challenge for people. And I've been honoured to be part of people's journey to get them engaged into blind and partially sighted sports, to get them active. And another scenario is somebody that's visually impaired and thinks, oh, I'm not good, I'll never be able to play, and them just to lift a bat or lift a ball and be a part of the a session that we provide, for us it's most enjoyable, and most you feel honored and making individuals be the best they can. And thank you very much for having me so far.
Thank you, Sheraz. I know that people listening will feel, I know I do personally, I feel definitely motivated and inspired now to actually get off my butt actually, and get more involved in sport. I really do, especially after eating a lot of chocolate over Easter. So now moving on to this next section of today's event, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions for anyone of our panel of speakers, comments, or know of any arts or sports related opportunities across Greater Manchester or the wider region, please use the comment section, making clear who of our speakers your questions are for, and we'll do our best to get answers to as many questions as possible. If you are a JAWS screen reader user, the keystroke shortcut is Alt-H to open the chat, type in your message and press enter. Before our live Q&A session, we have got some pre-submitted questions, and to introduce these, we are going over to our colleague and SLC member, Mary.
Hello everyone, that's been really inspiring listening to all our panelists. I hope you're enjoying it. Yes, we have some pre-submitted questions, and I'm sure your questions are coming firing in. So Anthony, please let me know when you want me to stop. It'd be really nice to hear our questions from our panelists. Right, our first question goes to Laura. I've never really thought about getting involved in cycling. I didn't know it was an option for me. How would I get started? Laura.
Yeah, unfortunately, tandem riding is kind of notoriously tricky to get involved, especially in the current climate where it's impossible to surface on a tandem. But that's probably the best option. The kind of loads of there on different clubs. Also contact, especially for around Wales has a tandem club. Bury in Greater Manchester has a tandem club. So, you know, it's kind of just ask. Don't be afraid to ask around and contact your local. If you know of any local cycling clubs, there might be someone there who's got an old tandem and would really love an excuse to go out on it. It's amazing how many tandems there are around. You kind of just need to, you know, ask. Really, that's my biggest bit of advice.
Laura, thank you. Right, our next question goes to Elizabeth. I don't think I'd like to perform on stage, but how else would I be able to get involved, please?
Oh, well, no, not everybody wants to do that. So there's often we look at creative writing projects. We've done film projects where we've had people support the making of the film. We've had live theatre projects where we might have someone who's a little bit more interested maybe in looking at the lighting or the tech or even looking at the set design. So it's not just being a diva on stage like me. You don't have to do that. No, we look at the creative aspect of making theatre and making film, and the team that takes to make it. So there's lots of other opportunities.
Oh, thank you very much, Liz. The next one's for Ada. Who or what has inspired you to take up the sports and arts? Ada.
Yeah, well, I don't have any specific names, but I guess just researching about other performing arts creators who are disabled, being involved, like watching the festivals, because many companies have festivals where they have different artists showcasing their work, and seeing that and just following their work inspires me, and knowing, well, they as a disabled person has been able to become so successful, and you know, I could do it too, and knowing that I could, you know, just message them and ask for advice, and people are very happy to give you advice. And sports wise, I love watching players higher up than me and seeing how good they are, and that just inspires me to just be like, one day I want to play against that person. So that's what inspires me.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sure all our listeners are inspired by our panel today. This question's for Dave. What one particular person who's inspired your writing?
Great question. If I had to pick, see, my kind of inspiration with poetry comes from music a lot of the time, because poetry and music to me are the same thing. You know, all my poems are meant to be turned into songs, which is a project I'm working on in the future. But if we're going on strictly on poetry, there's actually a poet from Greater Manchester who actually lives around the corner from me by the name of Tony Walsh. Now, those of you might be familiar with Tony. When we had the horrible incident, the Ariana Grande terror attack a few years ago at the MEN Arena, the day after, there was a vigil in Manchester, and Tony Walsh stood there and read a poem called "This Is the Place." It's available online if you go onto YouTube and type in Tony Walsh, "This Is a Place." And it talked about the strength and the pride and the passion that we have in Manchester for the arts and music and fashion and football and everything, and how we wouldn't let anything kind of beat us. And his work really does inspire me. And, you know, I think here in the northwest of England, very much recently, we've got a great collection of poets. And poetry to me, when I was younger, probably was more for the upper classes, and it was stuff that didn't rhyme, and it was very difficult to make sense of. And now it's really gone back to its roots of being, you know, for the people and easily understood, and something that really hits the soul, which is what my poetry is all about. And I love seeing it from other people. But yeah, Tony Walsh is definitely one that really inspires me.
Oh, thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Right, Sheraz, can you take part in the activities you talked about at any age, and are they suitable for the families, for all families? Sheraz, are you there?
Sorry, Mary, my apologies. Great question. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say our sessions, we tend to invite family members to be involved, siblings, etc., to help out, because we're a family kind of set up as a club. As it comes to actually competing, obviously, there's a criteria through the governing bodies that we play sports with. And yes, our ages are for competitive 11 and above, but we do have youngsters to come in to be involved in our sessions, and the family members, we do encourage them to be involved, and whether it's cricket, goalball, baseball, to have a go and be involved. We also give the option to sighted personnel that come down, try the simulation specs on, try the shades on, a bit of awareness to see how we kind of live our life day to day. So the answer to your question is, we would not rule it out if you was 9, 10, would say come down, have a go. We'd encourage anybody to come and be a part of our setup that we run in Manchester. And more afield, Lancashire, we've got people coming from everywhere. So yeah, we're open for any suggestions. Anybody wants to get in touch, I'm sure Matt's got my details. I can give them at the end as well.
Oh, thank you very much, Sheraz. Anthony, are we all right to carry on? I've got some more.
Yeah, just a couple more.
That's brilliant. Right, for all the panel, what benefits have you experienced with your involvement in sports and arts? So to any of the panel, what benefits for you personally have you experienced in the sports and arts?
I'll jump in quickly with Laura Fachie. For me personally, being able to compete against other people with a similar impairment to me, you know, it's amazing self-confidence boost. Sport for me, I found is one of the only things where I can compete on a level playing field with everyone else around me. And, you know, it just makes you feel good about yourself and boosts real positive mental boost.
Yeah, I'll jump in now. Massive effect it's had on me. I mean, obviously, you probably got that from kind of my story. Being able to write poetry, and, you know, I've been writing now 6 years, just about 6 years. I'd never really written poetry before I started to lose my sight. It was only when I started to write about something that really meant something to me that it began to really spill out of me. And 6 years later, since I started writing the poetry now, I've written over 900 poems, actually 3 books published and another one coming out towards the end of this year, which I don't want to speak about just yet. You know, being able to write a poem that takes no longer than 20 minutes to write, use the power of social media and click a button and send it around the world to help support someone and really, you know, impact their day is such an amazing thing to be able to do. And it's really afforded me great opportunities to travel the world and speak at wonderful events, be an ambassador for Henshaws. I have to give a shout out to Henshaws being on this call, and do some great work here in the UK as well. So I'm very grateful every day for the ability to do this.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, panelists. Anthony, I'll come over to you. You can come back to me. I've got more books. Go to our audience.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Mary. So we're just going over now to our live questions, who will be presented by Penny, who is from the Thomas Pocklington Trust at the Comms Department, who will be reading out our live questions today.
Hi. Well, the chat's been really busy, both here on Zoom and on our Facebook Live. So just to feedback on some of the lovely comments. So there's been some lovely comments to Dave about his poetry, for Laura about you're such an inspiration. There's someone saying that they're doing judo, hoping to go to the Paralympics in 2024. For Ada, I love hearing that story and the perspective and opportunities. And for Elizabeth, there was a comment to say, this is music to my ears. I have a daughter with Usher syndrome. Thank you for paving the way and creating these opportunities. So some amazing comments. In our Facebook Live, same as said, it's so lovely to hear such inspirational individuals. Great session. What an inspiration. And apparently, Nina said you have one of your poems at her wedding. So those are the comments. So comments are flooding in. Questions, we've got loads of questions too. So a question from Louise is, she currently has a tandem on loan from Charlotte's Tandem. My little in height and age on the front and me and on the back. I get really scared on the road. Where would you say is the best place to ride to get used to the tandem as an absolute beginner? I guess that's for Laura.
Yeah, definitely. Try and find some quiet roads. Go out into the country, or definitely don't start. Well, my first road tandem experience was right slap bang through the middle of Birmingham city centre, which was a little bit daunting. So I wouldn't recommend that. Maybe if you can see if there's any sort of road cycling clubs around that have, there's quite often these closed circuits. They're called like crit circuits, and it's like a racetrack for cars and bikes, and it's outdoors, and that you might be able to get on one of them, or even just if you're find a quiet park area and just take it steady and build up your confidence slowly. Really, it is quite daunting at first, especially putting your trust into someone else on the front who's kind of got your life in their hands. So be kind to yourself. Don't expect it to feel great straight away. You will have to kind of get used to it.
Great. Okay, next question, and this is to Elizabeth. So Louise says, your passion shines through, Elizabeth, but can I ask if this is something that is just in Greater Manchester, or is this nationwide? That's to Elizabeth.
Engaged to stage work is nationwide, because currently it's all online, which is amazing, because that means we can access communities, visually impaired communities all over the country. When we're together physically, we tend to use some regional theatres around Greater Manchester. So, but on a personal note, you just got to, it's wherever you want to go, you go, and that's that. That's that.
Great, that's very resounding. Just taking a couple of questions from our Facebook Live viewers. So there was a question saying, Ada, can anyone join the Mind the Gap organisation? This is to Ada. Ada, you're on mute. Ada, you're on mute.
There you go, is that better?
That's much better.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted myself before. Yeah, you can join them. If you go on their website, they have a few workshops and opportunities available. And they even do, there's a Mind the Gap school, performing arts school as well. Unfortunately, they've just had their applications, so maybe next year you have to see what they're going. But if that's something you want to do educationally, you can join the school, and there's loads of opportunities. So you just have to keep an eye out and see what they've got, and just apply, and you'll love it.
Great, thank you. An anonymous attendee here said, thank you to all the panel. You're all fantastic. Ada's story of locating water coolers is something I can relate to myself. Again, a question for you, Ada. What would you say has been your funniest blind moment in either sports or the arts?
Oh, funniest blind moment. Okay, I'd have to say, so we had this performance we were supposed to do for our course, and last minute our teacher decided he was going to change the lighting. He was going to put floor lights on and turn the main lights off. So he was like, oh, will you be okay? Will you be okay doing it? So I was like, yeah, I thought I'd be fine because at least there'll be floor lights. But within the performance, I ended up dancing with the wrong person throughout the whole piece. So I was supposed to be in a duet, and I did the first half great, but the second half I couldn't find my partner. So I was dancing with a completely different partner, and it was completely improvised. So I don't know. I hope it was dark enough that people couldn't see that, but yeah, that was quite funny.
That sounds great. This is a question back to Liz. So Stephen said, you've adapted during COVID because we have to adapt every day in order to get on in life. So we're used to it. But can you tell me more about how drama school adapted for you and how you adapted to it and how you use that experience in the professional world?
Well, drama school didn't adapt for me, but as I pointed out when I was telling you about it, that was a very long time ago, and I'm pleased to say that it's changing. It really is changing. So I really want to encourage people to know that they can go to drama school. And how did I use it? How did I adapt at drama school? I didn't. I'm dogged, I'm afraid. I'm quite dogged about my passion, and I would encourage you all to be as well. So it was about me literally finding my way through a bit of a tunnel, and feeling and going for it, and failing all the time, and that didn't matter. That was part of the journey. How have I used that into the professional world? Same sort of thing. Is I have a lot of fun doing what I do. I really do. I thoroughly enjoy what I do, and I think that comes across when I'm working, Steve, and I think that comes across in auditions, and I don't tend to focus. I tend to focus on being an actor. I'm not. This might be controversial. I'm not a visually impaired actor. I'm an actor, and I'm visually impaired. So I would encourage you to stand as actors and creatives first. That's probably what I would say, Steve. Hope that helps.
Brilliant. I think that's great, and I think there's a lot to be said for doggedness, actually.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to do this last one question. We've got loads more questions. All questions that we don't answer will be available on our website after this, and we will be sending it to participants. So just to let you know, if we haven't asked your question, don't worry. The questions will be answered. But the last question, or else I'll get told off for overrunning, is How do you find out what is going on in your area when it comes to getting creatively active, particularly places that are VI friendly? I'm not sure who that's
I literally just Google those words, like creative stuff for visually impaired people, like change the wording around, but I literally just Google things like that, and then things will pop up, or just ask people, or find companies that work with disabled people and check out their websites and see what they're doing. But yeah, Google and ask people.
I've got one. I'm going to kind of set everyone a challenge. It's listening into the call, and this one's especially for Elizabeth as well, who I need to have a conversation with about this. Obviously, we've turned to online, so you know it's not just about getting involved in stuff in the local area, which is great, but often we can do that on a bigger scale worldwide. And the team that I'm lucky enough to be working with in America this year are putting on an event in November, which is going to be online, called Blind Dance. And Blind Dance is the world's first film festival for visually impaired and blind filmmakers. Now, anyone can get involved. You don't need to be a professional filmmaker. We all have cameras in our mobile phones, and all you've got to do is make a short film about anything that you want. It doesn't have to be about visual impairment. It can be about anything. It can be about your story, your life. And if anyone wants to get involved, you can do that. You can submit a film, and it will be shown at the film festival, which is going to be taking place in America in November this year. And all you need to do is go to blinddance.org. That's blinddance.org. And if anyone wants to message me, I can give you more details as well. But yeah, I'm going to set anyone a challenge to make a short film, a short piece about anything. Also, we're doing this thing at the moment called the Blind Dance Challenge, where on the Blind Dance page on Facebook, you can do a dance to any piece of music and get someone to audio describe your dance, or you can audio describe what you're doing yourself and post it. And there's going to be prizes of cash and lots of different prizes on there as well. And we've got some big sponsorships in as well. So some really good prizes. But check out blinddance.org. And I'd love to see some of you guys making little pieces of film for that. But it's going to be amazing.
That was incredible fun.
I think that's all for the questions then. And as I say, we will get round to sending through any that have been unanswered that we haven't managed to pose to the panelists today. So over to you.
Thanks, Penny. That was great to get so many questions there. And thanks everyone for posting their questions, and thanks to the panel for kind of giving really inspirational answers to that. So now we're going to move on to the final part of our session, which I'm really excited about. This is something for everyone to get involved in. So the final part of our event today is a short relaxation, mobilisation and breathwork session delivered by Claire Miller. Claire is a 520-hour trained yoga instructor and fitness trainer. Claire has lost most of her vision in her right eye as her optic nerve is damaged, and has also now got a cataract in her left eye. Claire is passionate about sharing her love for yoga, fitness and breathwork with everyone, regardless of age, health or mobility. In terms of safety thoughts from Claire, please follow Claire's instructions at your own risk, and please do not move through anything that you think might hurt or does hurt. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Claire.
Very much. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And I must say, what an inspirational group of people have been talking this evening. It's made me feel very honoured to be part of this community, even though I'm fairly new to joining this amazing group of people. So we're going to begin just by coming into a comfortable seated position. So wherever that is for you, whatever you're sitting on the floor, in a chair, on a sofa, wherever. And just take a moment just to notice how your breath is feeling. So if you can, come to a little bit of stillness within the body. If you have any vision at all, maybe you want to close your eyes and try to bring your focus internally. Start to really deepen your breath, taking a nice big inhale, and a nice big and long exhale. Just see how your breath is feeling this evening. Just a few moments, just simply breathing. Just appreciating the quiet, appreciating hearing your own breath. And then we're going to start by taking some simple movements in the neck and head. So we can take the chin down towards the chest, and then take the head, the chin comes from side to side, taking it to one shoulder, down to the center, and to the other shoulder. Again, make the movement nice and slow, nice and gentle. Just moving the head gently from side to side. Just noticing the muscles of the neck. And then take your head back up to center. I'm going to take the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Head comes back to center. And we take the head towards the left shoulder. So again, we're just moving the head gently from side to side. Again, just seeing how the neck is feeling. Nice, gentle movements. And the head comes back up to its central position. Bring the chin down to the chest again. Head comes back up, and then we take the head very slowly and gently back. Back to center, slowly forward. So just moving the head in all the accesses. Taking the head back. Taking the head back up. One more time, we take the head forward. Bring the head back up. And come back to your breath. We're going to start by taking some movements into our shoulders. So bringing your hands onto the front of your shoulders, so your elbows point forward. And then we take the elbows out towards the sides and round to the back. So make these movements nice and big. So we're just mobilizing the shoulders. See if you can bring the elbows forward, touch the elbows. Take the elbows all the way to the side and bring them all the way back. So a few nice big movements, just waking up those shoulder joints. And then take the shoulders in the opposite direction. Elbows come back to the sides and forwards. Again, just seeing how the shoulders are feeling. And then from here, we're going to keep the right hand on the top of the shoulder. Take the left hand under your right arm, on the top of the arm, the tricep area. And then we take the arm out, we bring the hand forward, and we're going to sweep the hand forward. Hand comes forward back to the shoulder, and then hand comes round in the other direction. So we're circling the hand, sweeping the arm around. And then move the arm in the opposite direction, taking the hand back to the shoulder, to the side and forward. And then we drop the right arm down, we take the left hand back to the top of the shoulder, right hand comes under the left tricep, bottom of the arm. And the left hand sweeps forward. Nice big circle. This just wakes up your elbow joint and it's to the front of your shoulder. And take your hand back, opposite direction, sweeping the arm round. And then again, drop both hands down. We're going to take our arms up in a nice big sweep. We take a big inhale, sweep your arms all the way to the ceiling. Stretch up nice and tall. And then turn your palms down and bring the arms down by the side of the body. Again, do this with breath. Take a big inhale, just sweep up your arms, stretch up nice and tall. And then the palms turn down. We bring the arms back towards the side of the body. One more time. Big sweep up, stretch up nice and tall. Stay with the arms up. And then keep your right hand up to the ceiling. Take your left hand down to the left side of your body, onto the side of your chair or your foot, because I'm sitting on the floor. And we stretch up through the right arm, coming into a side bend. So we take the right arm over and just gently stretch the right side of your body and breathe into the right side of your rib cage. Take a big inhale to stretch the right arm back up. Bring the left arm up to meet it. Take the right hand down to the side of the body. Big inhale into the left arm. Again, come into a nice side bend. So see if you can really lengthen the left side of your body and breathe into it. Arms come back up to center. Keep the arms up. Interlace your hands and turn your interlaced palms up. And again, stretch up. See if you can open your armpits. Nice big stretch. And then bring your hands forward. Turn your palms towards your face. And then pull your hands forward. See if you can gently round the spine. Maybe the head drops down. One more time, we take it up, we stretch up nice and tall, stretching up the body. Again, hands come forward, palms turn towards the face, pull the hands forward. Release the arms down beside you. Now take the hands behind you. See if you can get a grip of the fingers, maybe one finger. And then we're going to inhale to open the chest, pulling the hands away from the back of the body. Breathe here, you should feel a nice stretch across the front of your chest. And then we release the arms. Take them down by the side of your body, make sure you're nice and comfortable. And then we're going to start to gently turn the body round from side to side. So you're moving your arms from side to side, and we're just twisting the spine. So we can take the sweep with the arms a bit bigger. So if you want to, you can start to take one hand to one shoulder, so opposite hand comes to opposite shoulder. And we're just twisting our spines round from side to side. And then next time you come over towards the right side, take your left hand to your right thigh, bring your right hand and take it behind your back. And then take an inhale to straighten your spine and see if you can turn your right shoulder round. So we're just twisting the spine, and take some nice big breaths here. So really try and use your right shoulder to turn. Bring yourself back to center. Again, start to swing the arms from side to side. This can warm the spine and just move the spine. And then again, come to the left, take your right hand onto your left thigh, bring your left hand behind you to your back, straighten up, and then turn to the left, using your left shoulder to turn and breathe. Bring yourself back to center. And now we're going to move into our fingers and wrists. Take your arms in front of you. Make a gentle fist with your hands and start to circle your wrists. So nice big circles, really great for people that type a lot on computers or phones. Circle the wrists in the opposite direction. Nice. And then we stretch the fingers as wide as possible. And then we close the fist. We stretch the fingers really wide. We close. And then let's speed up this movement. Just wake up your fingers. Great if you've got arthritis. Stretching, close, opening, closing. Give your hands a big shake. Release your hand. Okay, we're going to come back into the spine. Have your hands on top of your thighs. And then we gently just drop your head down and see if you can round your spine by pulling your belly gently back. And then we push the hands into the thighs and we lift the chest. So we drop the belly back, so we're rounding the spine. And then we lift the chest up. We're going to do this a few times. So as you come up, maybe lift your head up, drop the spine back, rounding, and then lifting the chest. So we're just moving the spine in all the directions, dropping back, lifting up. Two more. We drop the spine back, really round the spine, pull the belly in, hands come back, and we lift the chest up. And then take yourself back to your central seated position. We're going to come back, this is a short session, into the neck. So have your hands into the lap by the sides of the body, whatever feels right. We're going to take a big inhale. We're going to lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then drop the shoulders down. We take a big inhale again, lift the shoulders right to the ears, and then see if you can roll your shoulder blades back. Again, we do it again. We lift up the shoulders to the ears, involve your arms and roll your shoulders back. We take one more. We lift the shoulders right to the ears. We roll the shoulder blades all the way back. Now drop your hands gently into your lap. We're going to come back to working the neck. Start to move your head around in a very big and gentle circle. Chin comes down to the chest, out to the side and up to the center. So nice, big, gentle movements, but feeling the whole of the neck and the head is moving. And then change the direction of the circle of the head, taking the head gently round. Again, nice, big, gentle movement. Bring your head back to a central position. If you notice the shoulders have crept up, drop them down once again. And then take your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Take some big breaths and breathe into the left side of your neck. Maybe it feels nice just to open and close your mouth, just release your jaw muscles. Keep the head over towards the right. And then move your chin very slowly down towards your right shoulder. Moving very slowly and gently, coming as far towards the right shoulder as you are able, and then breathe into that super tight bit at the back of your neck. Bring the chin slowly down towards the chest, tuck it in, see if you can feel the stretch up the back of your neck. Again, bring the head gently back up to center. Notice the shoulders, maybe you need to drop them down again. Then drop the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Again, breathe into the right side of your neck. Again, maybe move your face, move your mouth, relax your jaw. And slowly take your chin on down towards the direction of your left shoulder. Real slow movement when it comes to all the way to the shoulder or somewhere near there. Breathe into this super tight bit in the back of the neck. Once again, take your chin slowly down to your chest, breathing into the back of the neck. Bring your head back up and then gently take your head back very slowly, very gently, until you feel a stretch in the front of your neck. And then, because nobody's watching apart from watching me, stretch your face really wide, open and close your mouth. Stretch the muscles of your face as much as you can. Maybe take your jaw from side to side. Open and close the facial muscles. Then gently close your mouth. Bring your head back to a central position. And we're just going to close today's session just by taking a few moments just to focus on the breath. So if movement is something that you don't do very often, just notice how these little movements, little bit of gentle movement can really open the body. Allow the mind to focus on something completely different. Now take your attention into your breath, hearing the sound of your nice deep inhales and big deep exhales, and see if you can, for this last moment, just start to lengthen and deepen your breaths. See if you can calm your body and your mind by really lengthening your breaths. Taking this lovely moment just to listen to the sound of your own breath. Appreciating your body for everything it allows you to do. And I will say thank you very much for allowing me to guide you through this very gentle session. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Claire. That was absolutely fabulous. I feel wonderful now. So just before we say goodbye, you might remember we did a poll at the beginning of the session. So I just wanted to give you the results of that, just as a reminder. What are the barriers to participation in sports, arts, social and wellbeing activities? So, to be honest, it's the results have been changing throughout the session, but we've kind of got some final numbers. So all three of confidence to take part, finding out about the events and transport to and from the events are all at 40%. And then finally, the cost of activities is at 20%. So I think, you know, we can see a good kind of understanding of what the barriers are there. We'll be adding feedback to this, but they will be running throughout June. And thank you again for taking part. So we've come to the end of today's session, and I, for one, have really enjoyed it, as I hope you all have too. I would like to thank you all for coming to the session we've put on today. I would also like to thank our guests, Dave, Ada, Laura, Elizabeth, Sheraz and Claire. I'm sure you all agree they've given us a great insight into the experiences within the sport, leisure and arts industries. I am sure they have inspired you to become creatively active. I hope you'll be able to join us soon when we expect to be able to put on an actual event in person. But for now, thank you and stay safe.